Some stories aren't just told. They feel like they're carved into the very landscape, their echoes resonating through time like a great temple bell. Today, we're stepping into one of those chronicles, a true legend of incredible faith and what can only be described as divine power. Right here, along the banks of the Tha Chin River, it's said that the spirit of a master still watches over the people. His name is Luang Pho Rung, and his story, well, it's a powerful testament to a life that reached far beyond the ordinary world. And this really gets to the heart of what we're exploring, doesn't it? How does one person, one single life, become a beacon of faith for countless generations? So let's dive in and uncover the path of a true spiritual giant. Every legend has a beginning, right? And for Luang Pho Rung, his didn't start with jaw-dropping miracles. It began with a simple yet absolutely relentless quest for knowledge. He was born way back in 1873, and it seems his path was set from a very early age. He just dove headfirst into studying the sacred languages, Thai, the ancient Kalm script, Pali, building this incredibly deep foundation of learning. By the time he was 21, he was ordained as a monk. And get this, just 2 days into his new life, destiny called him to a small, pretty humble monastery, a place he would one day transform into something truly legendary. But the walls of the temple just couldn't hold his ambition for wisdom. He became a Thudong monk, which meant walking for miles and miles through dangerous jungles, relying entirely on nature and the kindness of strangers. His journey took him all across Thailand and deep into the mystical forests of Burma. I mean, what a true test of spirit and sheer will. And on these incredible journeys, he wasn't just wandering. No, he was seeking out the greatest spiritual masters of the era, creating what was basically a spiritual dream team. He studied under absolute legends like Luang Pu Suk, a master of controlling the elements, and Luang Pu Thong. He wasn't just gathering facts, he was absorbing the very essence of their sacred power. And it was from the great Luang Pu Suk that he learned something absolutely pivotal. It wasn't just about chanting the right words or performing the right rituals. He learned that real power, the kind of power that can actually influence the world around you, it all comes from a mind that's been sharpened and purified through meditation. This idea became the absolute bedrock of his entire life's work. So, armed with this deep wisdom and incredible spiritual energy, Luang Pho Rung returned. And he didn't just return to a monastery, he returned to a mission. He was going to build a true sanctuary of faith, basically transforming himself from a man into a monument. The place he now called home, it was barely even a monastery. It was known as Wat Tha Krabue, which literally means the Buffalo Watering Pier Temple. Just think about that. It was a simple, almost forgotten patch of land with a few rustic huts, a place of very humble beginnings, just waiting for a will powerful enough to shape it. And just look at this. This is the sheer scale of his vision brought to life. From that desolate patch of land grew this magnificent sanctuary. And it wasn't built with big machines or huge donations. It was raised brick by brick by the incredible force of faith that he inspired in everyone around him. I mean, just look at what that faith built. 2 main chapels, 2 huge assembly halls, a public school for the local kids, sermon halls, a towering pagoda, a whole spiritual city. He wasn't just a monk at this point, he was a master builder, an architect of faith itself. He built 31 individual houses for other monks. But what's really incredible is how they were paid for. He never once held a fundraiser or asked for money. People were just drawn to him, to his virtue, and they gave. So that number, 31, it's not just about buildings. It's a real, tangible measurement of the immense devotion he inspired. But his legacy wasn't only built with brick and mortar. It was cemented with stories. Stories that kind of defy easy explanation, moments where the curtain between our world and the divine seemed to just rip open. Okay, so imagine this. One of his disciples gets separated from his group after an argument. He's all alone, night is falling in the deep jungle, he's vulnerable, totally lost. And then he hears it. Out of the darkness, the massive shape of a tiger appears, its eyes locked right on him. I mean, pure, freezing terror. So the next day, the disciple, shaken but obviously alive, gets back to the temple. He tells Luang Pho Rung what happened, and without even blinking, the master says these chilling words. He hadn't been there physically, but his mind, his protective energy, it had traveled through the darkness to shield his student. He was there. And then there was another time, when his followers were trapped by a flash flood. The river was just this raging, impassable monster. As they were praying for a miracle, it said that Luang Pho Rung appeared on the other side. He threw a single white sacred thread across the rapids, and then walked on it, as if it were a solid bridge, leading all of them to safety. Now, obviously, not everyone could be there to see these miracles in person, so he channeled his spiritual energy into physical objects. His amulets became the stuff of legend. Each one was a vessel of his meditative power, a tangible piece of his protection that people could carry with them every single day. And each of his amulets was believed to have its own specific power. His first medal, from 1941, was famous for helping people evade danger. The triangular medal was for invulnerability, especially in a fight. His full moon takrut was for prosperity and good fortune. And the Phirog ring, well, that was seen as the ultimate protection against curses and dark magic. Each one was a spiritual tool crafted for a specific purpose. Of course, all mortal lives have to come to an end. But for a master who could seemingly bend the laws of physics, his final chapter wasn't about sadness. It was about serene, focused purpose. Years before he passed, Luang Pho Rung knew the exact year he would leave this world, 1957. And there was no fear, no sadness, he just stated it like a fact. And then he said that before that day came, he had one last promise he needed to keep for his faith. He told his closest disciples that spiritual messengers had come to call him away. And his response? He asked them to wait. He literally told these otherworldly beings that his work, building that grand chapel, wasn't done yet. His mission here on earth came first, even before the call of the heavens. And this is how his spirit lives on. His physical form might be gone, but his presence is immortalized in metal, towering 12 meters high. He still watches over that river, a permanent guardian, a silent teacher, and a beacon for anyone who seeks his blessing. You see, his legend isn't some dusty old story. It is a living, breathing force. It lives in the huge annual festivals held in his honor. It lives in the quiet reverence people have for those sacred amulets that still protect them. And maybe most importantly, it lives on in the unshakable faith he planted in the hearts of so many people. In the end, how do you even measure a life like that? It's not about the years you live, it's about the legacy you leave behind. The story of Luang Pho Rung teaches us that real power, the power to build things, to protect people, to inspire generations, it comes from a spirit that's forged in discipline and devotion. His is a story defined not by its end, but by its eternal, unending echo.